What's up guys, Eric here from Techisode TV, and here are the top 5 cases for the iPhone XS and iPhone XS Max. There are Amazon affiliate links for all of these cases down in the description, so if you see one of these cases and you're going to pick it up, definitely get it through that link because it helps support the channel at no extra cost to you. I also have time codes for all these cases down in the description in order from left to right, so if you see a case and you just want to skip right to that case, go ahead and check in the description and click the time code there. I also want to quickly point out that I don't have any OtterBox, UAG, or similarly priced cases in this group, and that's for just one reason, and that reason is value. Those are all phenomenal cases, I just think they cost too much for what you get. Most of these cases will protect your phone equally as well as the UAG or OtterBox cases, but they cost significantly less. So if you got a UAG, OtterBox, or similar case, don't be offended, those are phenomenal cases. I just personally think that they're a bit overpriced for what you get. With all that out of the way, let's get started. First up, we have the Spigen Ultra Hybrid. This is a two-part case. The back here is a polycarbonate material, and the sides are thermoplastic polyurethane, or TPU for short. Now, TPU is just a combination of silicone and a hard plastic, so you get something that's more flexible than that really soft, rubbery feeling silicone, but it's a lot more flexible than hard plastic like this polycarbonate on the back. So let's go ahead and pop the phone in now. I'm going to put the bottom corners in first and snap the two top corners in, and we're good to go. This case fits really well on the phone. It fits very snugly, and the design language is very similar to the design language of the iPhone itself. As you can see here, there's no lip that you can feel going from this back polycarbonate to the TPU on the side, and that's just like the iPhone. On the iPhone, the glass on the back, when you transition to the metal, you almost can't feel the lip on the side, and that's one of the reasons why the iPhone feels so premium, is you don't feel any lips or edges when you transfer from the glass on the back to the edges, and then same on the front. When you transfer from the front to the edges and you rub your finger across it, there's almost no edge there at all, when most phones do have a very noticeable edge there. The buttons on the case are very, very clicky, which is extremely important for a smartphone case. I don't care how nice a case looks or how well it's going to protect the phone. If the buttons don't feel nice, then I'm not buying that case, because the buttons are something you're going to be pressing all the time. You also have ample space to toggle your mute on and off, so that's good. Flipping over to the bottom, you can see that the cutouts are very well spaced, no problem getting your lightning connector in there at all. And if you tip the phone a little bit here, you can see that the lip is also really good on this, really substantial lip. This is going to give you some really good drop protection and also let you lay your phone face down on the table and you don't have to worry about the screen touching. And then the back comes up high enough, and there's actually an extra ridge here. If I tilt this up a little bit, you can probably see that. There's a ridge that comes up in the corner that gives your camera lenses a bit more protection. So that's a really nice feature to have. Even if you put your phone on the back, the camera lenses are not going to touch. Looking back at the cutout, it is also amply spaced. Your cameras are not going to be obstructed, and neither is your flash. Let's talk quickly about this polycarbonate backplate here. Now, it is going to get fingerprints on it as you use it. That's just par for the course for these clear cases. Same thing's going to happen on the phone anyway, so there's really no getting around that. But something that is really nice about this is that from a distance, and you can probably even tell from the video from this angle, it doesn't even look like there is a backplate on this. It looks like this is just the back of the phone. A lot of smartphone cases with clear backs aren't actually that clear. Like, you can't see through them as well as you can with this one. So even when you're looking at it from a distance, you could tell that there's some sort of a plastic or something on the back of the phone. But with this one, you can't tell, and that is awesome. Now, the only downside with this polycarbonate back is that polycarbonate does tend to scratch easier than like a thermoplastic polyurethane back. So I don't recommend putting this in your pocket with keys or anything like that, because keys will scratch this if you do rub them up against the back of it. Now, if you're looking for a really protective, slim case that doesn't have a clear back, I highly recommend taking a look at Spigen's Neo Hybrid line. I wanted to get one of those for this video to show you guys that as well, but those were backordered for a few weeks, so I just couldn't get it in time. However, I do have a Neo Hybrid case from a different phone, so let me go grab that real quick. So here is the Spigen Neo Hybrid. This is for the Galaxy Note 9, and this is a very slim case, very protective case, and this back pattern it's kind of a herringbone pattern. It feels really nice. It looks really nice. This is one of my go-to cases if I'm looking for something that's really slim yet really protective. I highly recommend the Spigen Neo Hybrid line to many people. Now, obviously, the case is going to look slightly different for the iPhone. This whole section is going to be moved up to the corner, obviously, for the cameras. and there are some other slight differences as well. If you want to check that case out, I have an Amazon affiliate link for the iPhone version of this case in the description as well. All right, let's go ahead and take a look at the next case. This next case is one of my favorite wallet cases. This is the Arae wallet case. There's a number of reasons why this is one of my favorites. Number one, there are cutouts here at the top, so when you take a phone call, you can actually just keep this closed and take the phone call like that. A lot of wallet cases don't actually have these cutouts right here, so the fact that this has that is awesome. The other great feature about this is that this clasp is magnetic, so it does lock in place. And when we open it up, we see the third reason why this is one of my favorite cases, and it is because of this piece here. Now, this is an extra bumper as well. It's very soft. It feels almost like a silicone type material. Now, it's not going to do a ton for protecting your phone, but it is there. Most wallet cases you'll find don't actually have this inner protective layer. They often just have these 4 little pieces on the corner to hold your phone in place. But with this entire bumper along the inside, you're going to get that added protection in case you drop your phone with the case open. Another great thing about this wallet case is that it has 4 card slots. Most wallet cases typically only have 3, so that 4th one is really nice to have, and especially since you have this window here at the bottom. If you're going to put your license down the bottom, you can quickly see in and see your license, which is a really nice touch. So let's go ahead and throw some cards in here so you can see what that looks like. So let's pretend you're going on a date here. So you're going to put your license in there because you're going to be driving, and then you're going to need a credit card if you're going to buy something, and then you've actually got a gift card to use at the restaurant because you just spent your entire life savings on this $1,500 phone and you don't really have any cash left and you already maxed out your credit cards. So you're going to be using that gift card. And if you've been following the channel for a long time, you know I like to treat my wife right with a VHS from Blockbuster after a date. So you're going to put that in there so we can go get that VHS. And you did happen to have $1 left after buying the iPhone, so you're going to slide that in there. So maybe you can go ahead and get some gum on your date so your breath doesn't stink. And lastly, obviously, you need the iPhone, so we're going to go ahead and throw that in there. Going to push the bottom in first and the top corners, and now you're good to go on your date. Going to close that up. You can see that it is pretty slim still, even with all of that in there, which is really nice. That's kind of the point to a wallet case, so you don't have your phone plus this big thick wallet as well. Let's flip this back open and take a look at the buttons. Now, it's actually just huge cutouts, and you can easily get your finger in there to push the buttons on either side. There's no issue hitting any of these at all because the cutouts are so big. Flipping over to the bottom, you can also see that the cutouts are amply spaced as well. And if you tip it up a little bit, you can see that the lip on the top of this is actually a decent size as well. So even with the case open, you can lay your phone face down and not have to worry about it. Looking at the cutout on the back, you can see that it is amply sized. You're not going to be obstructing either of the cameras or the flash. Flipping over a bit more, you can see that there's a hole here. That's for a lanyard, and it actually comes with one. So here's this one here. I'm going to go ahead and just clip that on just like that. And now you've got a little wristlet, or however you want to hold this thing. This is just one of the things that comes along with the case. The last thing I want to point out with this case is that this piece flips open because it doubles as a kickstand. So you can go ahead and flip it open like this, and you can watch a movie or something like that, because with this much larger screen, watching movies or just YouTube videos or just media in general is actually really nice on a screen so large. And this tab here actually does clip back as well to just kind of stay out of the way. You can also slide it forward if you need the screen to be tipped up more, or push it back if you need the screen to be more straight on. In case you're wondering, wireless charging and Apple Pay work perfectly fine with this case on. Drop protection on this case, I say you're going to do pretty well. So if you go ahead and close this up, you drop this front, back, even on this side, you drop on that side, or on this side with this strap here, you've got plenty of protection. You could drop this waist height, head height, no problem at all. The only thing that would give you a bit of a concern is if you dropped it open. This top lip is a pretty decent size, but it's not super thick, so if you did drop it on the top, and it slides down, it kind of hits on the corner or something like that, that may not be the best thing, but you do get more protection with this wallet case than a lot of the other ones. One more thing I forgot to mention about putting credit cards in here, because there's a magnet here and a magnet right here, you always want to make sure that your credit card stripe is on the inside of the case, because with a magnet here and a magnet here, if you're constantly putting your credit card in and out next to the magnets, you could actually alter the credit card's magnetic strip, and then you won't be able to use the credit card anymore. So definitely keep those strips on the inside of the case. That's it for the Arae wallet case. Let's go ahead and check out the next one. Next up, we have the Ranvoo Bumper case. Now, this is really nice because it's actually made out of real metal on the outside. and on the inside you have that thermoplastic polyurethane that I was talking about earlier. So let's go ahead and just throw this case around the iPhone, and then we'll talk about it some more. So I'm going to slap the iPhone in here. I'm going to do the bottom corners first, then wrap the top corners around. It actually goes on really, really easily, which is a big plus. A lot of times bumper cases do take a bit of force to get on, but this one goes on really nice, and there's no slop or play when the case is on. It's actually on there really snug. There's one thing I want to point out about this case right away that's really awesome. Ranvoo went ahead and made these little cutouts here. So in here, this is a thermoplastic polyurethane little strip, and then same here, same on the bottom here, and then on the bottom over here. The reason for that is that if they had a full metal bumper, that would cover the antenna bands on your iPhone and would significantly reduce your cell signal and Wi-Fi signal. So the fact that they made those little cuts in there makes it so that you can have that metal border without sacrificing signal strength. As far as the buttons go on this, they are very, very tactile, very nice buttons. I'm doing all sorts of stuff on my phone right now, but the buttons are super tactile, super clicky, really, really nice buttons on this. As you can see over here, there is this little lip that comes up on the corner, and that's on all four corners there. So it actually allows you to lay your phone on the back without the camera actually touching. Taking a look at the cutouts on the bottom, they are amply sized, and if I tip the phone a little bit, you can see that it does have a little bit of a lip on it. Now this isn't a huge lip by any stretch of the imagination. This is definitely not one of the most protective cases you're going to be able to get on your phone, but it's a really nice looking case, and it's a great way to show off the back of your phone, especially if you got the gold one, because now everyone's going to know for sure that you have the latest iPhone because of that gold color. So as far as drop protection goes with this, I think if you drop this from pocket height, you'd probably be okay from pocket height. I wouldn't go testing it out. Definitely wouldn't drop this from head height though. I mean, it's going to give you some protection on the corners, but again, I definitely wouldn't trust this from head height. So if you need more protection than that, but you still want a bumper case, then I would take a look at the RhinoShield Crashguard cases. That's another one of the cases that I did want to get for this video, but again, that one's also back ordered out a few weeks, so I wouldn't have been able to show it to you guys. Fortunately, I do have a Crashguard case for one of my other phones as well. So here is that case. This is the RhinoShield Crashguard for the Galaxy Note 8. I'm going to go ahead and slap my phone in here so you guys can see what that looks like on a device. Now, this has much thicker sides. The protection bezels on the front and back are much, much thicker, and the buttons are equally as clicky as the buttons you get with this Ranvoo case. But the only difference is that this case doesn't look quite as nice as the Ranvoo does with the full metal bezel around the sides. So if you're willing to trade a bit of style for a lot more functionality and protection, the RhinoShield cases are the way to go if you're looking for a bumper case. What's even more awesome is that RhinoShield recently redesigned their bumper cases, particularly for the iPhone, so that they're fully customizable now. So you can get the bumper in one color, you can get the buttons in a totally different color, and there is this rim or ring that goes around as well that you can get in a third color, and it's fully customizable on their website, so it's a really nice touch with the newer version of this case. So that's it for the bumper cases. Let's go ahead and check out the next case. Next up, we have the most rugged of the cases in the bunch. This is the Supcase Unicorn Beetle Pro. Now, this is one of my favorite tough cases for a number of reasons. One, it comes with this holster, so if you're a construction worker or you work in an environment where you need a tough case but you need it to be quickly accessible on a belt clip or something like that, this is definitely one of the best cases you can get for your iPhone. Looking at the belt clip, you can rotate it to 12 different positions around in a circle, which is pretty nice, so you could mount it however you need to on your belt. And it detaches pretty easily. You just pull this little lever and it just slides right out just like that. And you can put it in the other way. You can put it in any orientation you want. It just pops in. Even if for some reason you want to put it with the screen facing out, not sure why you would, but if you did, you could do that as well just fine. So let's go ahead and disconnect it from the holster and set the holster to the side, and we'll take a closer look at the case itself. Now, as you can see, there is a plastic covering right here. This is actually a pretty soft, and it feels kind of flexible plastic right here. And I think the reason for this is that you do need to be able to press in to get that 3D touch functionality with your iPhone, and we'll check that out a little bit later. Getting the case open is a bit difficult. You can try to pry the sides open like this and then get your finger in behind it and pull it out. I was able to do that once, but they do recommend using a penny or some coin and sticking it into the corner and kind of just prying it out that way. So I'm gonna go ahead and get this in the corner, and we're gonna go ahead and pull up like this. There we go. Got it. All right. So as you can see, the case is pretty difficult to take apart. This is definitely not one of those cases where you're just going to occasionally put it on your phone. This is one of those cases where you're going to put it on your phone, you're going to leave it on your phone for a long time because it's just so difficult to get on and off. So to put your iPhone in, you do need to put the front plate on first. So let's go ahead and do that. And obviously you're going to want to make sure the inside of this is clean and your screen is clean as well before you do this. But since this is just for demonstration, I'm just going to go ahead and pop it in. So let's go ahead and snap that corner in. Snap this corner in, snap up there. Okay, so the front plate's on. Now you just put the front piece into the back piece and you're good to go. So I'm gonna go ahead and snap the bottom in and then press the upper corners in and then squeeze the sides around it to close the case back around the phone. So looking back at the top of this screen protector, you can probably see it a little bit better now, especially if I turn it, there we go. If I turn it towards the light, you can see it better. So these are actual cutouts in the screen protector so that your sensors aren't messed up at all, because if this screen protector just came straight across the top, that would actually mess up Face ID. So the fact that those cutouts are there are great because Face ID is still going to work with no issues. Flipping over to the bottom, you can see that the cutouts are amply sized, and there is this dust cover here that you can go ahead and pull open to get access to your lightning port. And if I tip the case a little bit, you can see that the bezel on this is huge all the way around the device. You would be very hard pressed to break your device with bezels this thick on all sides. This is a extremely protective case. I'd have no problem dropping this from waist height, head height, bunches of times, dropping it down the stairs, throwing it off a cliff. Maybe not throwing it off a cliff, but you guys get the point. This thing is super protective. Looking at the buttons really quick, they are very clicky, very tactile. For a case that's so thick, Supcase did an incredible job making these buttons stay very, very clicky and very, very tactile. On the side here, you do get another little dust cover for your mute switch. As far as touch sensitivity goes, it's still very smooth. I have no problems navigating around at all. Everything is super snappy without any issues. The 3D touch feature works just fine with no hindrances at all. And overall, you just really can't tell the screen protector is even there. Something I did notice that I do want to point out to you guys is that there is a bit of a rainbowing effect. And I don't know if I can tilt this in such a way for you guys to even see it. But in this region here, if you look closely, you might be able to see that rainbowing effect as you kind of tilt the screen around. Now, when you're looking straight on the phone, you can't see that at all. And every time you're using the phone, you're going to be looking straight on at it, so it's really not an issue. But if you do see that kind of rainbow effect happen on yours, I recommend taking the phone back out of the case, wiping the phone screen down, make sure there's no grease on it, and then same thing with the screen protector itself, wipe that down as well, maybe with an alcohol wipe, just to make sure there's no grease or anything like that on either the screen or the screen protector. But again, it's not really a big deal because when you're looking straight on at the screen, you don't see that at all. Flipping over to the back, you can see that the cutout for the cameras and the flash are amply spaced, so there's no obstruction there. And now we get to the big sell point with this case. So not only do you get a holster, not only is it super rugged, but while being super rugged, they still made it super functional. A lot of really thick, rugged cases don't add this kind of functionality to it. What I'm talking about is this little kickstand right here. So if you get your finger in there, you can actually pull this out, and that becomes a kickstand, so you can put your phone in landscape mode and watch movies or watch YouTube or whatever. But what's even more awesome about this is because of the shape, you can even put it in portrait mode and maybe do like FaceTime or something like that with no issues at all. When you're done using the kickstand, you just flip this piece up, slide it up, and don't actually push in the center. This is kind of where you'd think you'd want to push. You actually push down here at the bottom and you'll hear it click into place. Now you're probably also wondering whether or not this works with wireless charging and Apple Pay, and the answer is yes, it works with wireless charging and Apple Pay just fine. One more thing I almost forgot to point out about this case is that if for some reason you don't want the screen protector, it would come out pretty easy. All you have to do is just press in the corners, and this is going to pop out up there. You can just take it out and not use a screen protector at all with the case. That's it for this case. Let's go ahead and check out the last case. So the last case here is the Spigen Tough Armor, and as you guys can tell, this is the Note 9 version of the case, but there's also one made for the iPhone XS and XS Max as well. The reason I don't have that case is because it was also back ordered, and I wouldn't have been able to show you guys this case until probably sometime in October, when you probably would have already bought your cases anyway, and you wouldn't have been able to know about this. Now, this is actually one of my favorite cases. 9 times out of 10, this is the case you're going to find on my phones. And I'm not kidding. So here it is for the Note 9. Here it is for the Note 8. Here it is for the S9. So as you can tell, I really like this case. And like I said, 9 times out of 10, this is the case that's on my phones. There's a number of reasons why that is. I'm going to get into that right now. So for demonstration purposes, I'm going to go ahead and put my Note 9 in here so you guys can see how it looks with a phone in it. And one of the things I love about this case is, one, the buttons. The buttons are very clicky, very tactile, just like all the other cases buttons are. 2, it's very protective. So if I tip it up here and you take a look at that bezel, it's a pretty decent sized bezel. So you can lay this face down on the table with no issues at all. But not only that, you do get pretty decent drop protection. I'm very comfortable dropping this from pocket height, no problem at all. Head height, I'm definitely comfortable dropping it from head height. I wouldn't keep dropping it from head height. Like if you're on a call, I wouldn't just make a habit of throwing it down. But I do believe this can take those types of falls pretty well. Obviously, this is the case I typically put on my phones, so I definitely trust it. Now, one of the things that I love most about this case is actually this little kickstand here. So the case, as you can see from the side, is actually a pretty slim case, but you also get this little kickstand. A lot of times, you have to add some pretty decent bulk to get a kickstand, or the kickstand is like awkwardly sticks out the bottom, so you have this like weird bump somewhere on your case. But this, it's all flush to the back, which is really nice. You just put your finger in there and pop the stand out. Now, it doesn't actually have any sort of like spring loading or anything like that. It's actually just held in with tension. So you just push it all the way out and move these out of the way here. And you can lay it down in landscape just like this. But if you want to, you could even flip it over and then have it tilt up even higher. So if you're at a desk, you're going to want it like this, so it kind of faces you more because you're sitting down. But if you are standing up, let's say you're cooking and you've got a recipe or you've got a video of someone cooking something, some kind of recipe or something like that, and you're trying to follow along, having it tilted up higher like this is definitely the way to go, and it's going to be a lot easier to see the screen that way. And of course, wireless charging and Apple Pay will work perfectly fine with this case as well. So that's it for the top 5 iPhone XS and XS Max cases. Definitely let me know if you're going to be picking one of these up down in the comments below, or if I missed a case that you thought should have been in this list, definitely let me know what that case is, and I'll be sure to check it out before the next case review. As always, don't forget to like the video if you liked it, share it if you loved it, and subscribe to see my upcoming iPhone XS and XS Max coverage. And while you're at it, smack that notification bell so you can be the first to know when a new video drops. That's it for this Techisode. God bless, guys, and I'll catch you in the next one.